The word art comes from the Latin word ars, and that means skill, craft, or craftsmanship. So art is any effort that includes painting, that includes literature, that includes music, etc. It takes skill, and what it does is it gives us a sense of beauty and wonder, and perhaps touches our soul in such a way that we think that life is more than just food or drink, that we're not merely physical beings, not emotional, social beings, but fundamentally we are spiritual beings. So I'm going to share with you a short snippet of how I proposed to my wife. I'm not sure if you are interested, but I'm a speaker, so I'm going to tell it anyway. Okay? So many years back, my wife, a teacher, she was taking a group of students during school holidays for an overseas exchange program in Japan. And I told myself during that week while she was away, let's pray and ask God, is she really the one that says the right time for marriage? So that was my intention while she was away. On the second day while she was away, I was reading my scripture as was my habit. And I was reading through the book of Hebrews, and I came to Hebrews chapter 13, verse 4. And I read the words, marriage is to be held in high honor among all, and the marriage bed is to be undefiled, to be pure. As I read those words, God really spoke to me and says, marriage is a good thing, you should pursue it, and so that's what I did. I went to my savings account, looked at my meager savings, drew out some money, went to the jewelry shop and saw this engagement ring. I bought it, and I told myself when my wife, or my girlfriend then, is going to touch down Changi Airport, she returned from Japan to Singapore, I'm going to propose to her at Changi Airport. So the day came, I was very excited, I went to Changi Airport really early, went to scout it out. And I found this very quaint, quiet little cafe. There were very few people around, it was like perfect, I'm going to just make some silly excuse, bring her here, go propose to her here. So she returned, and I told her, can we have a short drink? Maybe you can tell me a little bit about your trip. And so we went to the cafe. Lo and behold, it's filled, it was jam-packed with people. I don't know where they came from. And as we were sitting and drinking, I was like, the plan B is like right through my mind. So I'm not the kind that like wants to do it and then everyone, it's like, no, not for me. So it's like, okay, plan B. So I told her after we finished our drinks, can we go to the viewing gallery for a while? And she was like, I'm so tired, why? It's like, just a short while. And so we went, and it was great, because as we were approaching there, it was quiet, there were very few people there, it was dim, there was lights on the runway around, quite romantic, didn't plan for it. Sat her down, took out the ring, went on my knee, and read a poem that I wrote for her, which read something like this. It's time to express how I really feel. Love is not love if it does not kneel. On this day, so I make my vow. Really, my wish is to marry you now. Every time I think about what we've been through, I want to spend my life with you. Only would you give your hand in marriage to me until the Lord Jesus, our eyes go to see. And those of you who are perceptive may see the first word of each line spells out. And so she said yes, of course, why not? But later she said, no, actually I said yes because I'm so tired, I just want to go home and sleep, just get it over and done with. I was like, okay, anyways. Moral of the story, guys write poems or measure your girlfriend when she's very tired until she says yes. Okay, but here's what I want to say. Words have the power to express beauty, right? And words, before I say it, so words have the power to create, and it harkens back to God, whose words have creative power. If you are familiar with the story, back in Genesis, first book of the Bible, when God talks about creation, it says that God spoke existence, God spoke the universe into existence. By the power of His word, the universe came to be. Right? So there's power in God's word. Over the last week, Axiom Theatre presented Shakespeare, and when I thought about plays or dramas, I often wondered to myself, what's it like being an actor or actress? I've never been one. Maybe kindergarten, that's too long. But I wonder what's it like saying lines that are not yours, not written by you, and acting out a role that is not your life. Right? And does it feel like very scripted? It is. How do actors and actresses feel? And I imagine that actors and actresses have no problems doing it because they're being involved in something bigger than themselves, a story that's bigger than themselves. And I thought about God. And God has a story that spans history. And God actually invites us to place our lives in that drama. He has a role for each and every one of us. And so it's been said that history is his story. Okay, which leads me to the Bible. The Bible is an astonishing work of art. It's literature. There are acrostics, there are parables, there's poems, there's metaphors, etc. It is the most read book in all of history, and God has deemed it in His good pleasure to communicate with us through His Word, through art, through literature. For those of you who are unfamiliar, the Bible consists of 66 books, Old Testament, New Testament. It's written by some 40 authors from all walks of life, fishermen, tax collectors to lawyers. It's written over a span of 1,500 to 1,600 years, over 3 continents in 3 languages. And if you think about all this, the amazing thing is there is a unity, there's a consistency in Scripture. I mean, if you do a random, like, okay, ask people, pick a random 40 people here, ask them, what is God like? And you collate their answers, you probably have a very, very differing view, right? And yet the Bible speaks as one. There's one story, and the reason why is because Christians believe the Bible was superintended by God. He's the ultimate author of the Scriptures, His Word. It is for us and speaks to us. There is a technical term I'm going to introduce to you today. Some of you may be familiar. It's called the meta-narrative. In other words, there is this overarching story that binds all the books of the Bible together, and by extension, we can find our lives interspersed in this story. What's that meta-narrative? I'm going to tell you by way of illustration. Most of you probably would have watched this movie, Taken. It's released like more than 10 years ago. Okay, it's a very simple storyline. Okay, because action is where all it is. So Liam Neeson plays this guy, Brian Mills. Brian Mills is a retired CIA field agent, and he has a daughter, Kim. Kim wants to go with a friend to Paris, and Brian sends them to the airport, and he discovers, instead of what he thought they were going there for, like some cultural kind of exploration, they were actually going to follow the band U2 on their European tour. And so he's very hesitant, he has his fears and apprehensions, but the daughter begs him, and reluctantly he allows her to go. And so they fly, Kim and a friend fly to Paris, and in their naivety, they befriend this stranger, this good-looking stranger, befriends them, he wants to show them around, but he is actually in cahoots with this sex trafficking ring. Their plot obviously is to kidnap the two of them. And so just before Kim is taken, just before she's taken, she sends a distress call to her dad, the ex-CIA field agent, and you know what's going to happen. He uses his experience and his skills to go on a search and rescue mission of his daughter, beats up a lot of bad guys along the way, so it's a kind of violent show. You guys are not going to watch it later. And finally gets reunited with his daughter, saves her. A very basic plotline. In fact, a lot of movies have this kind of basic plotline where it's like there's a situation at peace, something comes in to disturb the peace, there is a mission to bring about that original state of affairs, and there's this reconciliation, right, celebration, at the end is reunion. And maybe it would surprise you to know that the Bible has this similar meta-narrative. 4 parts to this story. There's creation, fall, rescue, celebration. I'm going to go quick at the time. So in creation, God says in the book of Genesis, we read it, God created humanity to live in fellowship and union with Him. So it was awesome because man, woman, naked in the garden, all kinds of fruit, right? Abundance. It was perfect. It was paradise. Creation, creature, and creator in close fellowship. But this perfection was upset when human beings decide to rebel against God, disobey His command. They took from the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and they took an egg, not an apple, okay, just for illustration. They disobeyed God's prohibition, and sin entered into the world. They wanted to have things their own way, right? And that's bad news because God is a holy God. the consequences of sin is separation from Him. And separated from the source of life is physical and spiritual death. But God loves us so much, He would not leave us to our doom. Instead, He goes on a rescue mission. He does this by sending Jesus Christ of Nazareth. So in the incarnation, God took on human flesh and walked our earth, the dusty streets of Palestine, 2,000 years ago. Jesus lived the perfect, sinless life. He healed the sick. He fed the hungry. He loved the outcast. He spoke words of life. But more importantly, He was rejected by men. He was whipped by Roman soldiers. He was crucified on the cross. He was buried in the tomb. Now, 3 days later, that very first Easter Sunday, Jesus rose from the dead. Jesus is the hero of this story. And so what Jesus promises is for all who trust in Him, His victory over sin and death will be ours to rescue. Some years back, I brought my family to have a meeting with some of my very close friends and families. This is at my friend's house. Outside his house, there's this very small swimming pool. So there's this baby step in the pool, shallow, right? And if you step off the baby step, you go into slightly deeper water. My children were very excited when I told them about it. So when we reached the place, my son particularly, he was so excited. He ran, he ripped off his clothes because he had already put on his swimming stuff. He stepped into the water and off the baby step. Samuel did not know how to swim. He was very young. And so I still remember his look of utter shock. I still remember in vivid slow motion. He was like, into the water, okay? And Dad obviously has to go in and save him. But for a moment, I hesitated. And you want to guess why I hesitated? So, I've heard the answers ranging from the you cannot swim to the you're afraid of getting your shoes wet. The real reason, I say to my shame, was there was this very new, very expensive phone in my pocket, and back then there was no such thing as like waterproof phones like we have nowadays. So I was like, my phone, jumped in there, grabbed his hand, hauled him up, saved him. I was having a conversation with my wife soon after this, and she noticed my hesitation. Like, idiot, why did you just jump in? I was like, And then at that moment, God really spoke very deeply to my heart. And He said to me, Aaron, you love your son. And even though you love your son, you still hesitated for a split second before rescuing him. But I, God, did not hesitate. When I saw humanity drowning in sin, I did not hesitate, but I gave of my son, plunged in the waters, and rescued humanity. That is rescue. Finally, the last act of God's story is celebration. Jesus says that He will come again, and when He comes again, He's going to bring in the new heavens and the new earth. And all the corruption that our world experiences due to sin, death, suffering, sickness, sorrow, injustice, violence, He says will fully and finally be swept away, and God will be with His people in paradise restored. That's celebration. We all love happy endings, and God says it will be okay in the end. So this creation, fall, rescue, celebration theme is the story of the Bible, and God invites you and I to allow our lives to be woven into this story of His grace. Let me return to the topic of chapel this morning. I said perform for what? Why do we do art, write poems, sing songs, perform for dramas? I suggest in part because when we do this, we are partaking in this creative God's world. Creation speaks of His presence, and when we as human beings do something creative, we are reflecting a part of His nature. Yes, because of the fall, not all art is positive. There is perversion, there's profanity, there's pornography, etc. But there's a redemptive element to art as well. Mr. Penrose has, I think, very eloquently talked about it, how we can use art, songs, poetry to uplift human beings. I think about music, for example, and I find the celebration element very evident. If you think about the pop songs that we listen to, I'm quite sure we can easily find love songs in there, right? Okay. It's very natural for people to sing to or for the person who they love. It's a very natural thing. And so if you think about it, why we do worship It's because Christians love God. He has loved us so dearly, so deeply that in gratitude and in response, we sing to Him. The question of our why is very important. Why do we do what we do? Sports, service, or the performing arts? And I'm going to land on this short video which I would like to show you. It's very powerful to me. So if the sound is up, let's go.
The question that you really should ask is, how do I know why I'm here? Because when you know your why, your what becomes more clear and more impactful. If you know, like for instance, people know that I do comedy, but that's what I do. My why is to inspire people to walk in purpose. So I can do comedy, I can write books, I can be in a movie, because all of it is motivated by my why. In fact, I have a new web series out called Michael Jr. Break Time. We probably just did the 6th episode. It's on YouTube. So every single Wednesday at 3 o'clock, we drop a new episode on YouTube of Michael Jr. Break Time. What it is it's me. I travel around the country and I do stand-up comedy, in case you didn't know. And in the middle of my comedy set sometime, I'll stop and just talk to my audience. And we've been filming this, and it's pretty cool. So we're in Winston-Salem. I'm going to show you a clip from Winston-Salem. And I'm just talking to this guy in the audience, and he tells me that he's a musical instructor at a school. So I was like, all right, you're a musical instructor. Can you sing? Let me hear you sing a song. So this is what happened at the last episode of Michael Jr.'s Break Time. Check it. So you're a musical director?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me get a couple bars of like Amazing Grace. Can you do the first part of that? Go ahead.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
Wow. That bro could sing. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, once you give me the version, as if your uncle just got out of jail, you got shot in the back when you was a kid. I'm just saying, let me see the hood version real quick, if you know the version I'm about to see if that exists. This is what you got.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
Here's what I want you to catch. The first time I asked him to sing, he knew what he was doing. The second time, he knew why he was doing it. When you know your why, your what becomes more impactful because you're walking towards or in your purpose.
You know your why behind what you do. Let me end by showing you this question from the Westminster Shorter Catechism. It's a summary of the Christian faith. And the very first statement asks, what is the chief end? What's the chief purpose of man? And the answer to that, man's chief end is to glorify God and to enjoy Him forever. That is what we were created for. That's our purpose. This is our why behind our what. The Bible tells us, 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31, whether then you eat or drink or whatever you do, the sports you participate in, the arts that you perform, do it all to the glory of God. And in ACS schools, we have this saying, to God be the glory. It's not a catchphrase. We really believe that this encapsulates why we are here for. And we find a purpose, the why, whatever you do will be more intentional and purposeful. And so at the end, if you have any questions and dialogue, please drop me a line. Would you allow me to close us in prayer? Let us pray. Eternal God and Heavenly Father, thank you for creating us and loving us. Thank you that you are the creative God, and each and every single one, the men and women here in this hall today is not here by chance. You have a purpose for them. You shaped them, you have gifted them talents and abilities, giftings. And I do pray for them that they will discover the why behind the what they are going to do. So in whatever they do, they will find purpose, they will find that they will serve their common man and they will glorify you. Give you thanks for this time and praise in Jesus' name.